All right. Here we go again. What's poppin', everybody? Happy Sunday. Lewis here at Martial Artistry, also your host of Leadership Lounge. Let me get some links dropped in here and get myself situated. Hope everybody's having a great day so far. We are multi-streaming. Bear with me. All right, I see we are live. I see. Yep, we got audio. I keep seeing Uriah with his Chicago gear on, so I figured, let me rock some Seattle gear this weekend. Most everybody's probably watching football this Sunday, so I hope you guys are all having a great start to your week. Let me just drop this in here. Just one. I see Jen's in the house. Everybody make sure you say what's up to Miss Jen. Mrs. Jen. I am dropping our subscriber link as well as the consultation link. I think Uriah will be here shortly. Aside from that, let me just do a quick introduction. My name is Lewis Marshall. I am the host here at Leadership Lounge. I'm an airbrush artist over here at Martial Artistry, as well as the AI artist that you see frequently online. If you have any questions, definitely drop them in the chat. I have both phones this week, so no worries. I'll be in the chat with you guys. Hopefully all is well this week. I see you rise in the house. In the chat, I don't see you on screen yet, but I know it's like kind of last minute. I know this daylight savings time always screws things up over on this end because we do not celebrate here. So I'm trying to make the adjustment for everybody else. And over the course of this week, I'll kind of get figured out with Uriah what time we'll go live next weekend. We are getting prepped for the craft fair over here, so I'm moving and grouping all day, every day. Good time for a conversation about how we do this balancing act that we all do. So, updates. Couple of quick updates for us over here. I saw that Midjourney sent out a notice, I think Thursday, that the editor is live on the website. Have not had a chance to play around with it, but the functionality looks really, really cool. It's going to be a unique tool to, I'm sure, offset Canva over at Leonardo. This is going to be our version of that. I know that they've got some other updates that are coming up in the pipeline, but haven't talked about release dates yet. So we'll just have to wait and see. On the hip hop side, I see Thug is home. I'm glad that Young Thug has been released. I'm definitely looking forward to some new music. I am glad that he's back home with his family, his kids. I heard some of the stipulations, unfortunate, but hey, you can do it, bro. You can start over. I encourage you, and you got support from a fan out here. So I chopped my hair this week, and I didn't get to shave quite yet. So to be determined, and it ties into our conversation about this balancing act. I know for me, this is a very, very, very busy month. So I've been kind of refining my process in terms of how I do my prompt engineering for Midjourney, and then separately my prompt engineering for Kling, and really refining that process. I know you probably have seen me posting less on my personal page, unless you're in the subscriber hub, and more on our business page, which is at Martial Artistry. I want to do more of my video production on that side, and more of the image generation on my personal page. And so I'm starting to separate the two in terms of content, but the subscriber hub still kind of gets a bit of everything. I know it's just been a little bit wild because we've had a lot going on the last 2 weeks. And at the end of November is when my craft fair is. So I'm really developing new products. We got some that are hanging back here in the background this week, but really taking off in terms of using some of the AI artwork that I've already generated and begun to put it on products. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot over the last 2 weeks. So I talked with Mr. Uriah this morning about, what do we want to chat about on the show? We thought it would be a good idea to talk about the balancing act between having a day job, a 9 to 5, being an entrepreneur, and having a personal life as well. And I'll start and say, I'm married with kids. I do have a 9 to 5, and I do all of my prompt engineering, and then I do all of our content for most of our content for the various platforms that we're on. So it's really more like 3 full-time jobs. I am pretty much going somewhere between 16 and 18 hours a day. It's pretty structured. I have a lot of breaks. It's not too overwhelming during the day, but when you pair that with, I've been doing this for now 3 years full time, it can be a daunting task. And so I can't speak for other creators, but I wonder how others deal with that balancing act. I know that Uriah and we talk on a pretty regular basis. And so I understand how he balances his balancing act. But for me, it's just a lot all day, every day. And I want to give a stat that I just was re-listening to from this last week from the good brothers over at EYL. They had a special episode podcast with David Shands talking about going from 9 to 5 to full-time entrepreneur. And one of the stats that they gave was most full-time entrepreneurs in the first 5 years don't even make 50K per year, which is less than most of them would have made at their 9 to 5. And so it's not lucrative at the very beginning of the process. And that's usually when people just give up. And so I can speak for Martial Artistry. We're in year 3/4. And things have taken off. They have picked up. Sustainability is now a realistic thing for us here at this company, but it has taken a lot of groundwork and a lot of time, energy, effort. So I wonder how other people handle and manage that. Let me check the chat right quick. Let's see, we got a couple people in the house. I'll say for me, I make sure to get sleep every day. I do drink a lot of coffee. And I try to find ways to refine, perfect each portion of the process to make it a little easier on me. That way I can do things in batches. Let me give you an example. So I mentioned we're prepping for the craft fair. So when I'm airbrushing, I want to get all my designs done all at the same time, so that when I'm adding color, I can add all my color all at once. And then when I get to the point where everything's got color on it and I'm ready to clear coat, I can clear coat everything all at once. That helps me in the process be more effective because I don't have to clean my airbrush as often. I don't have to change colors as often if they're within the same range. So it makes it easier for me in the process to be able to utilize my time more wisely. So when I'm prompt engineering, I want to run enough images so that it's easier for me to pick and choose and go through the quality control or the editing process and get those images that I know I'm going to post out first. The ones that I know I'm going to need to do some work to, I want to put them in a file to go back and do all of that editing work all in one sitting. Once I do that, I'm going through what images do I want to take and actually put into Kling and turn into something. And also in the back of my head, I'm thinking, how do these new Kling videos tie in with the old Kling videos in an effort to fulfill a full scene or more than one scene? So I have a couple of different full out scenes that I'm trying to create with both real B-roll and Kling images meshed in together. And I want to continue to build onto that library. So the images that I'm creating, some are, yes, just for me to post, some are for me to share information and be able to teach a little more effectively. And then others are, hey, I know this is not going to be one that I post until I make the video because I just don't want anybody duplicating that quite yet. I don't mind sharing the prompts, but then the other individuals who receive the prompts need to make their own image for said Kling prompt. So Kling, Luma, whatever your generator is of choice. So once I get a batch of images to go into Kling, I will just run them back to back to back to back to back. Typically, I will utilize one of my chat assistants. Excuse me. I'll utilize one of my chat assistants to help me refine my prompt in Kling so that I get better cinematic results and I can tie it into the scenes that I'm building. In parallel, there are certain days of the week where I'm not able to be active as often during the day. So I'll schedule out posts for that day and just check in when I can. I'll do that multiple times a week. I know that Sundays, hey, I'm busy in the morning all the way until the show ends. And then after the show ends, I will be batch editing. I'll be breaking down the live stream. I'll go ahead and get clips. I'll begin to put together my Kling B-roll for that week to make sure that it's still relevant. I'll be editing my subscriber hub content. So I'll do all of my batch editing on Sundays. So that's a day I'm not going to comment in the feed as much as often. That's my day to get all of the content together and then scheduled out. Monday, hey, I know I'm back to work, so I'm at my 9 to 5. I'm back to work, so I'm not going to be available to do much commenting. So that's one of the days that, hey, I need to pre-schedule out content when people are active and try and make it very relevant because nobody likes going back to work on Mondays. So they'll be scrolling their phone as they're in the bathroom and taking break, and at lunch, they'll be checking their phone on a regular basis. So I want to make sure that I have some content on Monday. So that's how I came up with MythPunk Mondays. It was a way for me to put out content specifically for those that are interested in AI and art generation and prompt tips. I also feel like Tuesday is another day that I'm transitioning at work at my 9 to 5. And so I'm not going to be very available So Texture Tuesday is another day that I just pre-schedule. Hey, all of my really good texture images, I'll schedule them on that day. All of my really good myth punk style of artwork and all of the variety of forms, I'll post on Monday. Wednesday, I'm a little more active. But that's also my Friday at my 9 to 5, first Friday at my 9 to 5. So I'm active editing, posting, scheduling out. And because Thursday I have a full day off, I do the balancing act between family life, running errands, adulting, and I need to spend that day as a full day in the airbrush shop. So I'll batch, just like I said, hey, I'm going to do all my base coating on that day, or I'm going to do all my design work that day. I'm going to do clear coating that night, whatever that looks like out in the shop. And I have other ways that I'm effective in the shop. And I'll give an example of, hey, if I'm using white paint to put the design onto this and I get all the bottles done and I still have extra paint, I'll find another project that needs white paint and I'll hurry up and do that until the white paint is done so that I'm able to be more efficient with the supplies that I'm using to paint with, the time that it's taking me to actually put said designs on. And I don't want to waste the paint. I don't want to just dump the paint, so I'll find a use for it. And these are ways that I'm able to, the first half of my week, really be effective with my time. You right? I was gonna say, I thought I heard you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. What time is it there?
It is 11:18.
Okay, okay. So I thought we usually do it at noon your time.
We usually do, but everybody else has the shift in time zone today, and we do not.
Right.
So
So
I
it
was
went two
trying to keep
hours
up with
then.
everybody else in terms of the time, and we can figure it out for next week.
Okay, cool. Because I was just lounging around. Cause I'm like, oh, I got 2 hours, but clearly I didn't.
It's always weird. Hang on, let me turn this up just a little bit so I can hear you a little better. How's your week been?
Man, it's been busy.
I
I
know
had
we've
you in the
been hit or
background so
miss.
I could hear you, but yeah, it's been busy on my end, and I think pretty much everybody has been busy. Like everybody I talk to, most of my clients, people I work with, family, you, some of my close friends, everybody is like going
Slam.
through it. And this Q4 is just about to be just a beast.
Yeah. Well, and this is the time of year to get it.
Right.
This sets you up for next year, so you can't really take a break.
Break is for the week.
Yeah. So, did you get a chance to hear any of what I had already said?
Yeah, no, I heard everything. I had you going on the phone while I was trying to set up. It takes me
Bet.
a minute to get my workstation together because I'm pretty much in the office now.
I
So
see that.
yeah, I'm in the office almost every day. So my home workstation doesn't really get used. So I gotta set everything back up every time.
Nice digs. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I see we got a question in here from Miss Ann. She says, curious if you've ever run into the problem of physically being able to work consistently. If so, how did/do you deal with that? Do you want to take that and then I'll follow up?
Yeah, that always comes into play. Like everybody that it's called Leadership Lounge. So if you're even on this group, you're probably a leader, you're probably an overachiever, you're probably working until you get sick, right? You probably work until you physically cannot work anymore. And the tips that I wanted to share is like how to prevent that. Although sometimes, like what you just said, what do you do? I'm gonna give the good answer, then I'm gonna give the the real answer. The
Uh-huh.
good answer is, take care of yourself. And be whenever you get sick, be prepared. Like you know what you need for every sickness. I pretty much have a small pharmacy in my I got a cabinet that's just for that,
Uh-huh.
and it's everything. I got every prescription, every herbal remedy, cold remedy, sore throat, whatever you need, stomach ache, whatever you need is there. So whenever you think you're about to get sick, have those on deck to shorten that span because we put a lot on our plate. The longer we're out, the longer we won't be able to function, you know? So you got to have that ready. And at the same time, once your body does shut down, you need to break.
Yep.
You need to take that rest. You've already failed and you got sick, right? So you might as well don't continue with the L and keep pushing yourself because that's when it could get even worse. Like hospitalization. But I'm just thinking about like when you say physically being unable to work, I'm thinking just like a cold or a really bad sickness that, like, let's say a bad flu or like COVID. So what we did like during the whole pandemic, you need a day. You need a day and rest. And if you're like me, it's hard to rest. You might need to take a remedy to make you rest and sleep.
Uh-huh.
You'd be surprised how often we're sick for any kind of ailment, and it's really just because we didn't sleep. Preferably, I like to take 2 days, but I got two small kids, so that's pretty much unrealistic. But if you can
Yeah.
take a good day and sleep, I don't know, financial situation. I remember one time I just got a hotel and I just left the whole family and just got a hotel room and slept. And I came back refreshed. Everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody thought, you don't think you're cheating? She gonna think you're cheating. I was like, no, this was an agreement. Like this is something that we came to. Like I take care of the
That's what
family.
you need.
I got two small girls, so it's me and the ladies. So if they say anything, I just can't rest because I'm there to help them at every avenue. If I hear
Yep.
somebody crying, I'm there trying to fix it. So even if I'm there and I'm resting, if I hear them, I just can't rest and without if
Mentally, you
they're
can't turn it off.
I can't turn it off. I can't turn it off. I have to physically remove myself from the building in order to get that rest. That's my personal situation. That's the get the rest. If you're physically unable, or even if it's even worse than that, follow the doctor's recommendation
Uh,
every time. And a lot of times the doctors say rest, you got to do physical therapy, go through all of it. I know a lot of people cut physical therapy short. I mean, you don't, especially when you're past middle age. We our bodies don't heal the same. Like we
yeah.
need that rest more than anything, and rest and water. That's my rest and water is my biggest tips when it comes to that.
And I'll say I'm not a great example of slowing down. I just manage my workload a certain way. And so to answer your question, I'll say for me, when I do need to physically just take the time off and not work, I make sure that I communicate that with my clients whenever I can. And then in parallel, Miss Jen, who's moderating, she runs the other half of the business. So I communicate everything with her. Hey, I need a day. I need a day. I just need to sleep. I just need to rest. And we just pivot and adjust on the fly. Okay, we're going to get you the time off that you need. Take the whole time off and actually rest. And then the hard part for me is staying off my phone when I'm resting. That's a challenge for me because I just like to consume podcasts, media, learning tools. And so rather than watch a Netflix series or a Hulu series, I would prefer to watch like something that's educational,
Mhm.
but it's still me working. And so that's that balance that I struggle with when I am taking the time to rest. Like you, right? I have small children, and it is a difficult thing to turn off. There's always the planning and trying to stay ahead of certain things that you know are coming down the pipeline. And where, like you said, in Q4, so you've got holiday schedule, you've got family schedule, potentially travel schedule. So getting prepared for those things ahead of time is something that I really focus on to prep us, you know. For the business, we started preparing our holiday stuff almost 2 months ago here on the show when we started doing fall preparations and talking about the holiday schedule and implementing the tools that you're going to need to be successful over this fourth quarter. I got that lead time because I knew I was going to need it to not feel so physically stressed that I can't make it through the season without getting sick. So balancing the workload by the preparation is something that would be my tip. If you know that this time of year is really challenging for you physically, mentally, emotionally, do the prep work. You know yourself the best. And so if this is a challenging time of year, take some things off your plate. It is okay to say no to some things. For me, but I'll give an example. I have 2 current commissions going while I'm doing my prep work for my show. These will likely be the last 2 commissions of this year just because I know I physically am not going to be able to do that in December with holiday schedule and family time. So I'm not taking on any more commissions for the rest of the year. I'll finish the ones that I have so that I have the downtime to actually rest. I'm planning on not doing much airbrushing at all during the whole month of December so that I can do the editing on the couch and still be hanging out with the family versus being out in the shop. It's a more relaxing day. I can set my phone down at any point in time and just tap in with the family at that point. So just me adjusting my schedule is preparing me a month out ahead of time. So I hope that answers your question, and I hope that that tip is going to be helpful for somebody down the line. We definitely have a lot going on over the next 45 days. I know we've got some things going on this week. I will leave. I'm not getting into politics. I don't get into politics. I try to stay out of religion. So I know that we have some big things going on this week. It's probably going to be a little bit stressful for a lot of individuals. And so I have already done some of the editing, but I'm pre-editing some content to, if you don't want to watch the news, you don't want to just focus on that, there's going to be some other content that's specific to that demographic. Because I know for me, I YouTube is just all politics, like nonstop politics. And I don't want to see anymore personally. I'm over it. It's important. I want to clarify it's important, but I don't want to see it anymore. I've heard enough to make my decision. So I need to get back to educational TV. So that's what I'm putting out content wise this week. Uriah, I know this is probably it's the second week. You're probably busy this week and then busier next week.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, it's like Thanksgiving.
Constantly busy now. Like 2 people on my team for my day job left. So one left and it was okay, but now the other one left and now it's becoming a handful. So I had specific weeks that were busy when it was my specific schedule. But now that I'm picking up his workload, it's just constantly busy now because I'm relearning. Because like I work on like 2 or 3 big projects, and he worked on like 6 smaller ones.
Wow.
So now I'm working on like all 10 projects and just trying to figure out how to get it in. I know that didn't add up because I'm working on another project that's an ad hoc project, but
Mm.
that's and that's the worst. That's the worst, and it's just been an ongoing project that sees no light. But the thing is that there's always going to be busy times, right? So you mentioned earlier, like you need to set a schedule, and you really need to plan your day out.
I do.
Otherwise, you just like what the cliche: if you don't plan, you plan to fail, and that means a lot, especially when you have a lot on your plate. So you need to always plan your day out, plan your day out, plan your week out, because if you don't, it becomes overwhelming. And once it becomes overwhelming, you want to quit,
Yeah.
and once you quit, now you're not getting anything done because like
Right.
you just
Starting over is way harder.
right. So now you had 5 things that was on your plate, and now you're not doing any of them, or you're not doing any of them well. Which, if you're not doing them well, then it's like, what's the point, right? So you got to plan your day, and although you planning your day doesn't mean it's going to go according to plan, but it's eliminating decision making, because the thing that really overwhelms us is making decisions. And if you could cut down the number of decisions you make in a day, the more mental capacity you have. So that's why you plan your day. And I've started doing this since, I want to say, college, like when I've been doing it heavy. Every 30 minutes, every 30 minutes, you need to plan out to the 30-minute. And I mean, I know some overachievers that do it to the 15-minute mark, right? But 15 minutes, that's a little bit too much for me. 30 minutes, I think, is the sweet spot, all the way from like waking up, taking a shower, meditation, get the kids ready, get ready to head out. Like that seems easy to say, and like, oh, I just know how to do it. But when you're working, like especially as a family, like everybody needs to be on that same page. So yeah, you might have it in your head, but does your significant other have it in her on her planner or his planner? Do the kids know? Because the kids are just doing what you tell them anyway. But if you start grooming them early to be like, okay, we got to be out by this time. Yeah, you got
Yep.
to repeat it a lot, and sometimes it feels like you're never going to get through. But if you don't say anything at all, they're just going to be kids and run amok as kids do. But if you, I mean, after say 6 months of doing it, at least the older ones will start getting it, and they get tired of getting yelled at, because mornings are frustrating, right? Like,
It
okay, we
becomes
need.
muscle memory.
It becomes muscle memory, and it's the workout. So setting that plan, I just gave an example of just your morning, but throughout the day, like your evening, planning that out. Because a lot of times when I suggest to create the schedule, most people only create the business side, like the 9 to 5 and what I'm going to do during the day. But you gotta plan in your personal stuff too. Like
Yep.
you have 8 hours of work. Okay, when are you going to eat? When are you going to go for a walk? When are you going to meditate? You're going to hear me say meditate a lot, because without meditation, I think I probably would. My head would have exploded a long time ago.
Out of sync.
Because if you don't, you're just not able to. Um, People ask me a lot. You're right. How do you do everything you're doing? And I want to say I meditate a lot, or I take quiet time. I go for walks.
Yep.
Because if you don't do that, it will be overwhelming, and you just kind of crash and burn, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's too much. I can't do it. And once you put it on your plate, you start creating excuses too. You don't want to
Yep.
create those excuses for your own failures, and then you start pointing and blaming others or blaming yourself or deflecting, and it's like, be accountable for you, and the only way you can is if you take the responsibility and do what you're supposed to do on the back end. And that might mean taking all of Sunday to plan. I go back to how I was raised. I had a single mom, and I've been doing my own laundry and ironing since kindergarten, first grade. And every Sunday, I had to iron the clothes for the whole week. I completely hated it. She's like, "Did you iron your clothes?" I'm like, "No, you better go iron your clothes now." I'm like, "But The Simpsons are on." Like, I
Yep.
want to watch The Simpsons. It's like I don't care about The Simpsons because then she had to set that regimen up because she was already gone out of the house. So I
Yep.
needed to be ready for school without her there. And the only way she could verify that is if
Uh-huh.
I was ready. Like if she knew I was ready. And that makes sense. And I just carried that
It
forward.
does.
Whereas like I do the laundry, I iron at least 5 shirts. So all my shirts are ready for the day. Because since the pandemic, I stopped going to the dry cleaners. At first I would do the dry cleaners because I was easy. A lot of the dry cleaners closed during the pandemic.
Mhm.
So I don't even have an easy way to to take the easy way out. So I got to do it myself now. And that's just an example. Planning your week. What do you have to do? Have that discussion with the family. Some days are known. My daughter is starting to step up and become one of those overachievers. She got a scholarship for a pre-professional dance program. So she dance practices over 12 hours a week now. So she has about 8 hours on Saturday, and then she has 2 hours, 2.5 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Uh-huh.
And then Wednesday she's in tutoring. So now my evenings are now shot. Like I can't even plan anything on Tuesday,
Yep.
Wednesday, Thursday because I gotta take her or pick her up from that.
Mhm.
And which means she has to plan her day, and that she's just in 4th grade, so how do you do that? You it's
Yeah,
not overnight.
she's adulting. She's pre-adulting.
She's pre-adulting, that's where it starts. She has a
Mhm.
planner now, she has an agenda book, like, it's starting, and this is how you start developing those good habits,
Yep.
because I told her, I'm like 'cause when she started doing it, she was like, "Daddy, do you have one?" I was like, "I used to have one, now I have one, it's in my phone." So I don't have the physical one anymore, but I have it in my phone. But even at work, I have a calendar that I write down on it so I can physically see it. And it matches the day. So if I just want to take a glance, it's there, but it's also um online and it's shareable across devices. So you know exactly what you're working on. Um I don't know how many of everyone is on like corporate America. I borrow a lot of the practices that corporate America teaches and implement it in my business and personal life. Like this is how a big organization learned to be productive. Why can't I do that myself? Why can't we do that ourselves? Like it's not something just made for work. It's something that you can implement in your own household. Um what else did I want to share?
I'm taking notes. I told you I was going to take notes too. It's not just for the folks that we're talking to. I'm taking notes too. I'll say, the planning and prioritizing are probably at the top for me. And I know both of those tie into the corporate structure and how they do things.
Right.
Um, Prioritizing is key for me. Hey, what can I get knocked out quickly versus what's going to take me a long time to get it done? Meaning I might have to do it in multiple sittings.
Right.
The things that I can just knock out, just knock a bunch of them out
Right.
and then carve out time to do the first part of whatever the long project is. And then knock a bunch of smaller things out again and then come back. I'll break my time up in that way.
Yep.
I don't mean to cut you off.
Writing a list, and prioritizing a list.
I'm reading these comments.
And
You've been great today, Ann. Thank you so much for being here.
readjust my
She said, forcibly retired from all that, but still difficult to let go of it all. Yeah, no, I can definitely relate to that. Some old habits that die hard. Uriah's all over the place.
My
I
camera.
see you. We see you. I think I got lag on my side.
Yeah, I got both screens up and Facebook is slow.
There he is. All right. Nah, these are all really good. I'll ask this, and this is just on the business side. I do a lot of pre-planning ahead because of the space that I'm in, about 2 months ahead of time. So I'm constant, like right now, I'm working on Christmas stuff versus working on Thanksgiving stuff. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So I'm already Christmas, New Year's, and then the reset in terms of, okay, now we're going back to the beginning of Leadership Lounge where we started last year, or it started in 2024, and we're updating everything with the new information. And that's how we're going to start January. I'm already working on that. For you, how, from a content perspective, how do you structure your scheduling? Do you each day schedule out? Do you schedule out each week? How do you manage? And I'm asking from the perspective of other people who are in the group who have a lot of images but don't have the time to sit there all day and just post. How do you schedule content when you have a busy week like this week? Hey, you're not even gonna have the evenings to touch content.
So I'm gonna give a couple answers because it all depends on what stage you are at in your journey as being
Mhm.
like a serious content creator. Early on, because I want to say I'm in like year 3 or 4. And I say 3 or 4 because the first year is almost like practice, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And when, but then the first year, you can't, a lot of that, when I say it's practice, is not usable in your future. We talked about that before. It was like when we look back at today's date last year, can you use
Yep.
that content? During your first couple of years, you really can't do that. So because you elevate it to a point where that doesn't look well anymore. So
Yep.
where I'm at now, I see what I did last year and the year before, and I'll just post that. And I'll do that during busy weeks. I'll do because I've been on a consistent schedule for a while now, and I'm always trying to stay in tune with whatever the day's events were. So for the first 2 years, I was just celebrating every holiday. If it was any holiday, Flag Day, I would do it. National Ice Cream Day, I'm doing it. So I did that for a couple of years straight. So now if I have a slow day or if I have a busy day, I'll go back to previous content and post that. Now, the best structure is when you're in your first year and you're really doing it the best way you're supposed to, is when I would do a month out. And when ChatGPT came out, it made it even easier because I tell it to make a month schedule for me. So my idea was to make a month schedule. I had themes for each day. Monday is a theme, Tuesday is a theme, weekend is a kind of, I wouldn't even really post on the weekend unless there was a holiday or something like that that needed to be recognized. And I'll post like schedule like 2 posts per day. So then I have everything scheduled for the week, including all of like the special holidays. And that'll be the skeleton for the month. And then each day I think like, okay, is there anything that I want to post today? And then I'll schedule that in to fill in the blanks. Because what I schedule would be like a morning post and an evening post. And that's just the skeleton. And then during the day, because you want to stay relevant, because you can't stay relevant, schedule posting a month out. Because you got to be up on the latest trends and all of that kind of stuff that comes out. I mean, just a month, Clean make 3 updates in a month right now, right? So
I know.
ChatGPT
Yo,
makes
you know they got an app. Sorry, I sidebar. Did you know Kling has an app?
no, I did that's
Jim just told me yesterday, and then we talked about it again this morning. I needed to mention it to you. I don't mean to cut you off, but you
no,
just something you said.
that's good. That's good because
Please
that'll make that
continue.
process a lot easier now. Because then the download process, Kling is very clunky. I like what it's doing, but it's very clunky and it's hard to maneuver. So the app should make that easier. Um, but yeah, so I schedule the month out, develop the skeleton with the specific days, and then fill in the blanks as I go. This year I actually took a break from the business side because I picked up more work on my day job and also volunteer efforts. I'm now a chair of two councils. So with that
Yeah.
said, what you can't do it all. So I'm like, okay, this year the business side will take a back burner. So I slowed down a bit. So I'm
Yeah.
not doing everything that I was doing previously. But even with that said, I go in. What's today? It's daylight savings time. I will create a post for daylight savings time. What's tomorrow? It's election day coming up. Coming up on Tuesday. Schedule something out for that.
Yep.
And do something like that. I'm not as consistent like that now. I mostly just post whatever I want, and I recycle a lot of stuff from before. Because if you made something that was fire last year, it's gonna be fire this year too. So
Yeah,
your
that's what I
audience,
did yesterday.
huh?
Yesterday, that's what I did. I took some, they were Day of the Dead Sugar Skull posts. And I'm like, yo, those were from a year ago
Yeah,
on
and
this day last year.
it works, and it
And it
works.
works.
So and it fills in the gaps. It fills in the gaps. It keeps
Mhm.
people engaged. It keeps people going, and it also keeps people wondering, like, how does he keep putting out all of this stuff? Like, where does he find the time?
Uh-huh.
And that's what you want. You want people to always like wonder, like, how are you getting it all
It
done?
keeps them tuned in.
Yeah, it keeps them tuned in. But you can't be the same. You can't be the one constantly on your phone, constantly creating every day. Like you have to plan it out. You have to like spend a day creating basically,
Yep.
and then plan that out, and then fill in the gaps along the
Yep.
way. So you can start making stuff on the go.
That's, okay, so that right there, what you just said, that's why I love Midjourney, is because when I'm in alpha and I've got everything all in one dashboard and I can just go in and share it out directly from there and schedule in whatever platform and then go right back to, having my full portfolio. I just go in there, scroll, and okay, this is fitting for Monday. Okay, this is good for Tuesday, and I just go through and find stuff that's relevant to those days and find some way to relate it to the journey, the overall just, hey, prompting, image generation, video generation, content creation. It is all the same journey. It's just different chapters. And
Right,
so if I can just relate it to some part of the journey, it will help somebody down the line.
right, yep. And like you said, with Midjourney, it keeps everything. So like then you go to the search. So like there's a lot of challenges coming out, right? Like everybody throwing out challenge, keeping their group engaged. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, I don't really like that challenge. That one, oh, I like that one. I'm like, oh wait, I've already done that before. I go search,
Yep.
boom, oh, boom, boom, boom. And then while I'm already posting it, fine tuning it and doing another one, boom, put that out. Oh, we do a lot. Oh, let me throw that in clean. Boom, let's make a video out of it. So it's
Uh-huh.
continuously upgrading your process, right?
Yep.
Everything you do is a continuation of what you did before. So
Well, and as Kling continues to get better, I'm finding that I have more range to work with a more diverse style of image to make into a video. So I had been focusing on like a real person with a surreal scene. Now I'm starting to play around with more surreal subjects
Yeah.
in a real scene.
Yeah.
And Kling's been doing
It came
all
with it because
right.
that was my
Not
biggest
bad.
thing. Because when I started Kling, I was doing a lot of surreal stuff at the time, and it just would not process it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, and I was showing it, and my wife was like, "Why don't you do a regular picture? Like, stop doing that. Stop doing like do a simple picture. It probably can't process that." And I was like, "You're probably right. Like, okay, maybe do something simple." But like now it is doing it. Like, I sent you the one with the eyeballs. I'm still playing with that, and it did that. Like before, it wouldn't, but like now it's doing it.
And
What
I'll
was
say for me, I really have played around between CapCut and Lightcut with the 10-second clips and being able to process those into a usable actual video. And that really has been working very, very well. I just learned something new in Lightcut this week. And if you, so in an effort to make my process easier, I've been leaving it in just 1x1 format when I'm generating in Midjourney. So when I get to Kling, it's still in a 1x1 square format.
Mm-hmm.
When I do my video editing, you're going to have to adjust it into 916 or leave it in 1x1 and know that there's going to be borders on top and on bottom. I just learned in Lightcut that I could actually like fill in the rest of the screen, and they added a button that wasn't there. I was like, what is this? Oh, fill, huh? Oh, they just added exactly what I need to like make this way easier. Okay, cool. So now my transition from Kling to Lightcut to CapCut just got way easier. So being able to then use CapCut as like really my final editor or Video Leap is another option that you and I just talked about this week. That I have it on my phone. I actually want to play with this new batch this afternoon. I made some stuff right before we got on the live, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I
And
mean, CapCut. I got CapCut and Video Leap, and I use them both.
yep,
I use them both.
in tandem probably.
I use both of them. My final is in Video Leap. I create the templates in CapCut. I do some stuff in CapCut, but whatever I get out of CapCut, I always throw in the Video Leap and put the final touches on, because it just has a better rendering system.
Okay.
And it has a little bit more fine tuning capabilities that CapCut has, but it just doesn't do it as well. It has sound effects on Video Leap. So I mentioned before, like the sound effects is what is going to take your video to the next level.
Yeah.
So when you see mine and you hear the growls,
Yeah.
you can hear the transitions.
Yeah, there dude that was playing the guitar was like epic. That was the one all week. That I think, my personal opinion, that's probably your best video this week.
Dude, man, I loved it. I mean, the song itself, like the song is already tight. And
then I'll say 1 and 1A, the one that you just posted this morning with the collab with Leslie Blair.
Yeah.
That's probably 1A. Like, but the sound effects just give it an added layer of depth.
Right. And CapCut doesn't. I don't know why CapCut won't put that in there. Like they have every other sound except like specific sound effects. So
I know.
I don't know if Adama on, but she has a process where she finds the sound effects on YouTube. and then does a screen grab and then throw them into her video.
So because I'm on multiple platforms, I use Epidemic Sound, and they have a really good library of sound effects. So that's another option that you might look into also.
Yeah, I have Envato subscription. So if Video Leap doesn't have it, I have Envato and Motion Array, and they both have all the assets you could ever want. But most of the time, Video Leap has enough.
Can you import the sound effects into Video Leap like a just normal sound, like on the timeline?
No, you have to download it. You have to download it and import it. It's not a direct link with it.
Interesting.
So that's why, like, in case of emergency, I do that. But usually, I only use a Motion Array when I'm on the desktop because that's just what is more so made for. But when I'm doing stuff in Video Leap, they usually have it, and sometimes you just got to be creative. So sometimes, like, if the sound isn't what you want, speed it up or slow it down to make it sound different, and then it'll turn into a sound that you want. Or if you're trying to get away from, like, I'm not telling anybody to violate copyright laws. However, if you slow it down to a certain point, you're no longer violating the copyright law from the algorithm perspective. You slow it down like half speed, that's no longer the same sound that it's not going to So
there's ways to work around stuff.
There's ways to work around or speed it up. Either slow it down or speed it up is usually your best bet. And that's pretty much everything. Like when I download Kling, if it's 10 items, I 10 seconds, I'll just speed the whole thing up or throw a curve on it, put the whole thing in, put them all together, jumble them up, and chop it up together. Because 10 seconds sped up and 10 seconds drawn out is almost two different videos.
It is.
You know,
well, and the algorithm sees it as two different clips.
Right. But your mind does too. You know, like your mind doesn't even realize what it's looking at. And I think that's what I like about editing the most, because it's like almost being like a magician. It's like, here, I took 10 seconds and turned it into a 30-second video.
Right.
And it didn't feel like that. It felt like I've been in the studio the whole day, but it's like 10 seconds, I chopped it up 3 times. First I duplicated a couple times, chopped it up, took one clip, sped it up, took another clip, slowed it down, took another clip, and did a curve on it. Then
the mirroring.
Then the next 3, mirror it. Next 3, reverse them. Throw them on, and then I'll throw all of those into CapCut, into one of those nice templates in CapCut. Then throw it back in the Video Leap and then fine tune it.
And you go back in the Video Leap after. Okay.
Yeah.
I might try that this afternoon because I already got some stuff that's done in CapCut. Like I'm done with it. I'll take it over to Video Leap this afternoon. I'll play around over there.
So
I'll post them in the group.
Video Leap has a tool where you can AI color grade. The color grading feature, that's the main reason. Like you can color grade. The best color grader is Premiere Rush, which is Adobe's mobile version, but it can't do nothing else. So it's like I don't even use it anymore because it doesn't do anything else and it's hard to maneuver. So I just stick with Video Leap. But I spent a lot of time on the back end because when you put a lot of different clips in, you want it to look like it's shot with one thing. So you need to put an overlay filter on top of it. So the easy way is just like throw a filter on it and it looks good. But it's hard to find a filter you want. So with Kling, I know you and I both use ChatGPT to create our Kling videos. One thing that ChatGPT did that I didn't even ask it to do, because I'm putting them together. So actually help me with creating the transition in my post-production and it added a section on suggestions for color grading. And it said, okay, add some oranges and add some greens, add some blues. And like I know how to do that, but that takes like another hour. Especially like it's on the desktop on Premiere Pro, it's easy, especially Adobe products because it's made for that. But Video Leap is not as good because I mean it's a mobile app, but I know how to do it. But it takes like let's say another 30 minutes to an hour to get it right because you have to do it differently for each clip.
Each one needs a little bit different color,
right?
At a different percentage.
Exactly. So, but Video Leap had a feature that it added months ago of AI color grading, and it was like just tell it what the aesthetic you want. And I never really used it because it's like, what aesthetic do I want? I don't know. I know what I want, and I'm just gonna put it in. I don't know what you're about to do,
right?
And I was like, I don't know what you're doing. But then I'm like, wait, I took the clip from ChatGPT and plugged it in, and boom. And that's what I did for. I did it for the 2 clips. I did it for the guitar, and I did it for the monster that was standing up. The robot monster. I can't even remember what he was doing. All he was doing was standing up and looking around. It was like I think my face was on one of them. He had like muscles and all he was standing up. And I just like clipped it. But then I threw that color grade on it and it set it off. Because I didn't even want to post it at first because it was like, what's happening here? But when I added that color grade on it, it set it apart.
Yeah. Well, and so it was crisp when he was like sitting down. It still had this like, it was still grungy. And as he stood up, it was like, yo, he stood up in the light clearly.
Yeah.
Like that part of the clip was, yo, crisp, sharp. The highlights were like bright. So it pulls you in as you're looking at it. As you were talking about that, I was thinking, I heard this week, and I don't remember where I heard it from, but there's evidently a program or an app or a software that can tell you what the color grading is of a specific scene, no matter what the scene. You just got to drop the scene in and it'll tell you what the color grading is. I'm like, oh, I need to play with that.
That makes sense.
Because I need to learn the different color grading terminology. So being able to take what ChatGPT suggests and take a clip from your favorite movie. You go to The Matrix as an example and be like, hey, what is the color grading for this scene right here? I want to try and play around with that this week.
And like The Matrix, for example, it's a lot of greens.
Yeah.
It's a lot of greens. It's a lot of green overlays throughout the entire scene. It's dreary. There's no blue. Most things we watch are blue, bright blue. That's how we know. Like, oh, that's a good production. For kids, it's like bright and overly saturated. You know, it's like crisp, sharp, and overly saturated because kids like that. But The Matrix is like dull and green. And when I first learned that, I was like, it looks good because it's dull. Like I was like, my mind was blown. It was like it's counterintuitive.
But it's consistent dull all the way through.
All the way through. Right.
It's that. That's the piece that I wasn't
really dull. Like if you think about it, when you see something that's cinematic, it's always darker. And that's counterintuitive to what we, especially as a photographer, like taking pictures, especially with clients, I want it bright, I want it sharp, I want it crisp. But when you make it cinematic, you turn those highlights and exposures all the way down. And it's like, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait, that's blurry. Like intuitively, I was like, I would want to brighten that whole scene. But when you're making it cinematic, it's supposed to be dark. I'm like, oh, this whole lighting and color grading is
well, and this is
ending learning process.
Well, and so it took me almost 2 years to realize, oh, I am doing what they're doing in Hollywood, but they have a person for this and this and this and this and this, and they only do that. They only do that.
They
That's the
only
only part of the process that they do. And so I'm like, oh, the reason that this is so hard for me to learn is I'm doing multiple jobs, but not getting the context of what part of the job I'm actually doing. I'm just looking at it as one overall process to get from A to Z, not knowing that, oh, you're going to have to break this down a little bit differently. You've got to get the footage, you've got to get the timeline, you've got to get the sound, but you also need to go back in and edit and color grade and VFX, like all the sound effects, all of that stuff is post production.
right.
Like it all falls in one process, if you will. But as a creator, I'm doing all of that process.
Right.
What is beeping? Hang on, something's beeping over here. Give me 2 seconds.
All right.
Why is there beeping? Yeah, it's a process, man. And I'll say for me, it is getting easier, but it's getting more complex.
Yeah. Because you're learning what you don't know.
Uh-huh.
So, like you just said, like it seemed like one step, but like that one step turned into 5 steps now.
Uh-huh. Once you learn how to do it the right way, yes,
Right.
it has to be 5 steps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why there's a clear, like, hard line. Hey, the creators are over here, and then anybody who's in production is over here, and there's hardly any overlap because of what we kind of just talked about.
Yeah.
The creators are like, hey, I just need to get it done. It needs to look decent, but I can't spend 2 weeks on this project. I cannot. I cannot film for 10 days and then put it together over the next 6 months. I cannot.
Right.
I need content ASAP, easy, duplicatable, rinse and repeat process. And the people on production side, they're like, no, take the 2 weeks to put the content together and then release it, and they'll wait.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my clients, that was one thing we kind of came to a head about, because I was like, let's take a week off. And you create the content, I'll edit it, and then we release it next week. And then we could get on that cycle. You create a video, but he wanted to create it and post it like immediately. So, I ain't got time for that. I was like, we gotta get into a cycle where we gotta level up, you know, and that's why it's a lot of time like I kind of stopped taking edit jobs, because it's hard for the creators to understand what goes into editing. Editing is a long process. So it's like they want it quick. I'm like, okay, I'll give you something quick. Oh, that don't look like what you post. I was like, but you wanted it quick. I was like, what I post, for one, I planned that for a week. I've been working on that for a week, and then I posted it. Oh, but it was just 5 seconds. Yeah, that 5 seconds took a week long. Like,
yep.
But
that's what separates.
Not at the point where I'm working with the pros, because I'm not at that level either. So I'm like in this weird spot in between where I know how to make something good, but I don't know how to make that good quick. So, but then I don't want to waste my time doing it for no money, you know? So,
right. So that's the back half of the conversation is there is a cost associated to creating content. And I say this respectfully, it is not worth 0.000017 cents per anything. Nothing.
Right.
I don't care how you split it and explain it. It is not worth
It's
that.
not.
There's a cost that goes into, there's a cost for Midjourney. There's a cost for CapCut. There's a cost for ChatGPT Pro. There's a cost to the time associated to put it all together, prompting for Midjourney, prompting for Kling, then editing it, then scheduling, and there's a cost
And
associated with
learning
that.
it, like just the knowledge of knowing even how to put it together.
That
Because they were
part.
like, oh, I this was I use this as an example a lot because with Premiere Pro, it really lets you know what you need to put something together. And it compartmentalizes all of your assets in a folder. And it was like, oh, I could do what you did. That wasn't nothing. So I'm like, here you go. Here's 15 assets. There's like 5 sounds, like one video, because the video is like an hour long, and then like some effects. Here's everything that I used to make it. You put all of those together and you make it happen. And that's but to take all of those assets and put them together is art. Like everybody can take those same 15 assets and make it look completely different. You know,
Correct.
so it's just a matter of like what you want, what you're willing to pay for.
Well, and what you want from, so the creative in me says the images are art, the videos are art, the production that goes into how I piece my videos together is art. So from a creative standpoint, yes, each piece needs to be tailored to me as an artist. And that's going to look different than everybody else's. I don't want it to look the same. While we're all using similar tools, the output that we put in the feed doesn't look the same.
Right.
I'll give an example. Like, as a creator on the video side, I feel like you're farther along in that process. You have more hours, more time, and I'm learning that process in real time. And on the prompt engineering side, I feel like I've taken steps ahead on that side where, oh, we need this image. Okay, cool. I got you. Like, I can get some version of this in some kind of style that will work for whoever the client potentially could be.
Whatever the need is.
And get it through the process. And this is just my random thought. I would probably send that to you because you're better at the video production than I am. You can put it in a much cleaner format than I can based on your skill set. So utilizing the skills that each individual has and taking advantage of that, and then finding the rest of the pieces that you need for that puzzle is really why collaboration is so important.
And that's kind of like what you just nailed it. Like that's what I want to do in the group.
Look, you sent this. I gotta do an unboxing, but like that's collaboration right there.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna help me become a better editor, become a better at filming the content. It's gonna give me a lot more to play with, but that gets me the hours that I need as an editor. Now I'm gonna be able to be like, hey, you're right.
On the board, because that
say it again.
That comes straight from Asia. Like you can't even buy it here. Like, and when I go into the feeds, I'm competing with people from Asia. Like, and it's almost like a repeat of being on the video game world or in the chess world. Like I learned everything online because my circle just wasn't there, so I had to learn it online. But it's like it's hard as fuck, and it's like nobody looks like me, and it's like I'm competing in a world that's different.
Yeah.
And what you're bringing here with Leadership Lounge, with Unleashed AI and Creativity, you're bringing our people together and
Mm-hmm.
getting us up to speed, basically, like getting everybody up to speed. So this is what I can bring to the table. This is something I've been playing with on the side that people need to get on, because everybody's getting up to 3D and 360. I don't want to scare nobody
Right.
away, but that's the future. 3D and 360 is the future, and editing it is hard. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna play.
Just think, I've been trying to replicate that with the AI videos since week 1. How do I go 360 degrees with AI video? How do I make it smoother? It needs to be smooth. I need to keep the character consistent. Everybody else is just walking and following. Cool. I don't want to do that. That's not where the rest of video is going. And I got to get to a point where the video looks consistent, the character looks consistent, the movement stays consistent. And I've tried it a number of different ways, but I got to figure this piece out for us as a group AI wise to get to the next level.
Yeah, and it's tough.
Oh,
It's so hard to conceptualize that I don't even think AI can figure it out, because I look
that.
at 3D is almost like looking, like when you say 360 around, that's how I think of 3D. You're looking at a
Mhm.
subject and you're looking at it around. When I think of 360, I think of being that object and looking around.
Uh-huh.
So it's like going from outside in to inside out.
Correct.
And
Yes.
when you're editing, it's even more mind-boggling, because it's like,
Yeah.
where
I
am I
will
going?
need I'll need to pay you for a session once I start filming with this. No lie. I already know because I've seen your footage and I'm like, okay, he told me how he's using this and like what it's doing. And then at Comic-Con, I saw a dude walk by me like just normal, and I saw his hand move, and I was like, oh, that's what he meant.
Yeah,
Okay, all right. Now editing, yo, that's gonna be crazy.
it's gonna be crazy, because we're used to a lens looking one way.
Correct.
This
Only a lens and doing this in order to get the footage.
So just to bring everybody up to speed, we're talking about 360 shooting. I don't, because I'm a nerd.
Go ahead and
I
say
got
it.
I got creations on deck. Like, I'm a creator. So whenever you see one of my shots and you're wondering how did I shoot it, like what's going on, I probably use this. This is called a 360 camera. This is a lens, and this is a lens. These are two fisheye lens that can shoot 180 degrees. So when you have 180 plus 180, now you have 360. So when I shoot on this, it's looking in every direction. So when you take let's say you just take one picture, it's going to take a picture that sees everything. In that picture, you can move around. So a lot of times I take a picture and I turn that into a video, because now it's looking around, you're moving around in the image. But if you really look at it, nobody's moving in that image. The camera's moving, the perspective is moving, but the actual subjects in the video aren't moving, because I'm just moving around in the image. And I say that because that's easier as an amateur video editor in 360 to actually edit the video in 360. So if I just stand here and take a picture, it's going to take a picture of my whole office. And I could take that image, I could post that image, the 360 image in one view, you could bend it around and fold it. So I can see that side, I can see that side, I can see this side. It makes me look like I got a big head because of the perspective. And then that's 10 assets right there. And then I could stitch those together and move it around. And now that's a video, and I could do it another way. That's it. So now I got another 10 assets that's videos, put them all together, and now I got content for like a week off of one image.
Bro,
Now,
I
when you
got a
add
question.
video, that's a whole nother process.
Yo, have you tried taking one of those 360 images and putting it in Kling?
No.
Literally, as you were talking, I was like, yo, I wonder if he could put this in Kling and run it on like professional and see what it does. I would pay for the tokens.
So the
I'm
thing is,
just
like,
curious from a testing perspective. We got to test everything. It's uncharted territory.
Right. So my prediction, because we test it and you predict what's going to happen. My prediction is that it's going to be limited because Kling is looking at things from a two-dimensional perspective.
Right.
So if I put something in there distorted, it's going to try to correct it, or it's going to put in the distortion in there. And I learned that through my the Headless Horseman picture. It doesn't try to create it. It doesn't edit the image at all. It just uses that image and makes it move.
Mm-hmm.
So if I put a distorted image, which will be distorted if it's 360 because
it's
not a traditional two-dimensional, it's just gonna it's gonna be off. But that's a great test to see. I want to see what it's gonna look like.
Right. I just want to see how it perceives it.
Because you can't put the whole image in there because
it has to be a section
format. Like a 360 file is different than a regular JPEG. It's a different file format. Huh?
I got some work to do.
Yeah, it's a different file format. It's different video format. Facebook tries to play with it, but they stopped letting me do it mobile because I used to post them on Facebook, but you can't post them from your phone anymore. You have to post it from the desktop. So I used to post my 360 images where you could turn the phone in Facebook and you could turn around.
But they want you to use theirs.
They want you to. They don't want to deal with it really. It's like they jumped in and was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to really do it." So now you got to do it from there, from the desktop. But it doesn't like Facebook doesn't even have a 360 feature. So
the filter thing that they have is like you really only have about 45 degrees to play with in any direction, up, down, side to side. So I don't know. I'm curious now. You got my brain going. So for the audience and anybody who's watching this on the replay, this is what we do. Like off camera, we just do this all week. We're just like, hey, have you tried this? Look at this. Check this out. So I can say too, I'm a nerd as well. I'm learning just a lot of how to turn my nerdism into actual content. Right. And that's been a challenge of figuring out how do I package this? How do I format this? Because I really have never shared this part of me before. So even like my airbrushing, I would always airbrush the stuff first and then show, hey, look, this is what I airbrushed. Not realizing that, hey, people actually want to see the process of how you got from A to Z, and it doesn't matter if you know what you're doing or not. They just want to see the process of how you did it. You got to learn on how to package it. And so now it's like, okay, I've kind of figured out how to package it. So now I'm starting to release more airbrush content again because I just didn't know how to put it together. It took away from my creativity on the airbrush side, focusing so much on how do I film this? Okay, how do I get my audio? Okay, how do I turn the compressor off in the background so that I can actually record this process? Like, how do I do this? Now I've kind of navigated through some of that stuff, and it's like, oh, they're not actually really doing this live. They're doing it in the studio and then post production, making it look like it's live. Oh,
Yep.
okay, I got you.
Yep. Yep. Because you could, especially on YouTube, you could post live, but it's not live. But
That,
you could respond to the comments live. So it
that.
appears to be live. So
I didn't catch that until
yeah.
I got in the production process, and it's like, oh, that's how they're doing it. Okay.
Yep.
So
The
we're
learning.
actually live. We're live in
This is
real
live.
time talking today. Shout out to everybody on the replay. Thank you so much for being here and sticking with us this long. This is a long episode, but this is really what we do on a regular basis. And it's good that people get to see the back and forth and how, just as we're talking, new ideas just pop up. And, oh, I'm writing that down. I'm going to try that today. I'm going to try that out today and give you a different, unique perspective into how to package your creativity and share it with the world. There's no right or wrong way.
Right. Because like you just said, like I always made creative stuff, but I never posted it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should post it or you should sell it. I'm like, dude, that's not what I do. I'm an accountant, I'm an auditor. Like I just do this on the side. And then I was like, no, you need to like post it. And I was like, I guess. So then I was just posting it a little bit, like here and there, and then it's like, okay, now I'm gonna just post it. So now I don't even post anything business. I only post the creative stuff. So it's finding a balance.
Well, and that's a hard balance to, now that I'm really active on both my at Lewis Marshall profile and the at Marshall Artistry profile. There's a clear difference in how the business page is received and distributed versus me as a person and how it's received and distributed on the platforms. It just is different. And so I have to work a lot harder at the business side versus they'll just push the content on my personal page. And so be how I do what I do on my personal page is like, hey, I want to just be able to share and post a little more freely. And on the business page, it's more geared towards the products and services that we have to offer, but giving examples of those products and services in real time. So that's part of why, like, my videos really have been posted on the business page, even though they're better received on my personal page, which is, I sent you the screenshot yesterday, and it's like, yo, 24 hours has gone by and it's still there, and there's no details, and I don't know why, but it's like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna keep moving. It's not really about that anymore. They can't afford to pay everybody.
Yeah.
Lowe's was good. I see Jess is in the house too. I'm just seeing these coming. What's up, y'all?
Carlos.
If you guys got any questions, just tap in. We're just doing the back and forth.
Carlos, just ask us something.
Late. You said Los asked something?
No, I was just telling them, Carlos, just ask something if you want.
Yeah, Jess, you too. Like, I know we're all kind of in the same space and we're all moving at the same kind of speed. I always try to say I'm available. I'm here to be a resource. If there's ever anything that I can help with or do or explain or create content about, just let me know. You can shoot me a DM, shoot me a comment. I'm really here to be a resource. And a lot of this we're learning in real time together. So I encourage the questions for sure. Uriah, tell the people where they can find you. Just so I can get this clipped in.
And I know you told me to prepare for it, and I didn't, so I'm gonna freestyle it
It's okay.
again.
I didn't do my homework either.
On Facebook, just hit me up on Uriah Muhammad or Prophet Productions. You can send me a DM, and I offer. I know I felt like I was doing one of my client sessions earlier, but I do business coaching, accountability coaching, and those include just keeping yourself on page with your business. So if you need any business coaching, accountability expert, and it's I equate that to being like when you hire like a physical, like a gym. You go to the gym and you got a coach. It's the same thing with your business. You need somebody to help you stay on track. We all need it. I got one. So that's the thing. Like everybody needs somebody to keep them on track. I offer that service. I also offer a plethora of business services. Also content creation. Like if you need pictures, you need video, you need stuff like that, I offer that. You can hit me up on text 805 Uriah on 01. That's my my Google Business Voice phone number. That's 805 Uriah 01. Either call or text message, or just hit me on the DM on Facebook or under Uriah Muhammad or Prophet Productions.
Bet. And Jeff, I'm gonna get to your question. You can find me. My name is Lewis Marshall. I am an airbrush artist. You can shop our products, as you can see behind us, at marshallartistry.com. You name it, we paint it. I specialize in custom reusable water bottles that you can personalize in a very unique, new, and different way. It's not a product that you can find anyplace else on the market. I also do a lot of engineering. If you've been with us or around us, definitely tap into the Unleashed AI Creativity group. You can find me there. But I do also offer prompt packs, both for text to image and text to video. They're available also at marshallartistry.com. If you are close to either Uriah or myself and you just want to get a little more than the content that you see in the main feed, you can definitely subscribe to either or both of us. It definitely helps both of us as creators, but I can tell you that Uriah always makes sure to, whenever he and I talk, he gives me some good advice that I'm able to put into action. So I can really speak to his ability to enhance what you already do. He's definitely done that for me, and I consider him a friend. He's a brother in AI, so definitely I can tell you that you'll get your money's worth. The other thing that I see Ms. Jess has asked is, hey, can we get a quick rundown on what we've discussed today? We talked about the new update to the Midjourney editor. We talked about Young Thug being free. We talked about how we do this balancing act of 9-to-5 life, entrepreneurship, and personal life, and all that encompasses, and some helpful tips on how to make that balancing act a little more even and manageable. We talked about both of our experience with video and AI video and some of the tools that we use to get through the process. Uriah gave some really good examples on how he uses the 360 camera and some of the things that we might be looking forward to in the very near future. That's pretty good recap. Uriah, did I miss anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it. I think you hit it.
Cool. You got anything for me, brother?
I know I mentioned it before, but when Lewis talks about his airbrushed and water bottles, we're not just talking about you giving him a Stanley and he airbrushes on top of it. Lewis is actually making water bottles, like making it from scratch. So the artistry from the core all the way through the finishing to deliver a final product. So I just want to make, because I was for one not certain of that in the beginning, and other people that made mention of that they weren't aware of that as well. I just want to make that clear because a lot of people we see aren't true entrepreneurs. A lot of people are doing just what's that call it? Jump ship or whatever. Yeah, drop ship, where you send them the image and they put it on for you and they send it. No, you're not getting that. You're getting a product that is actually created by martial artistry from start to finish.
I'm grabbing stuff that's like sitting here near me. So yeah, everyone is going to be uniquely different. There typically are not two of the same bottles out there. I can do two of the same, but this is early 2023 AI. When I didn't know what I was doing, this is our new signature series that we're releasing currently. All of this stuff is available on our website, but every bottle is going to be uniquely different. There's not going to be two that are the same. So Uriah is correct. I am making them from scratch. I am customizing them and building out a product line. So I definitely appreciate you shouting that out. I see that, Carlos. Great rundown. Yes, definitely get orders in. I'm like trying to paint as we speak, trying to get ready for this craft fair. And then whatever is not sold at the craft fair, yeah, it'll hit the website probably first week of December. That first 2 or 3, 4 days of December, we'll be uploading everything that did not sell at the craft fair onto the website. And I'll have a bunch more colors by then. And then Uriah, we got to talk about that thing. We got to talk about the thing for the bottles. We got to talk about the thing.
The collab?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Jess, you can request whatever you want, including AI imagery. Yes. Again, you name it, I can paint it. I can do whatever. I can do whatever. It doesn't matter what type of image. Size, I have a pretty good range. I think the largest water bottle that I have painted is 130-ounce bottle, and that one's mine. It's in the kitchen. But I do have 100-ounce bottles. I know the construction workers, that's the size that they're really using here. You can go on the website. Go to martialartistry.com. Give me 2 seconds and I'll drop this in the chat. You can go to the link in my bio also. And on my business page, Jess, there should be a shop on my business page, on the Martial Artistry page. So you can shop there too. We're getting it together. So yeah, this is really the best example of, oh, dude, you rock. So this is the biggest bottle that I've had. Shout out to Jen. Jen rocks. This was back when I didn't even know what I was doing. I put Kobe on one side, I put Rihanna on another side, and Nipsey is in there. And I still got to go back and finish detailing this out. I got busy and couldn't finish it. But it shows you that size wise, I can paint on whatever size. I can put whatever image you want on there. So yeah, you're right. We gotta talk about the thing
Yes,
for sure. I have an idea for Leadership Lounge. I know you have an AI version of yourself, and I have an AI version of myself. I think I need me on a model. AI Lewis needs to be on a bottle.
I agree. I need it. AI Uriah is already all over social media, so we need him on a bottle.
I'm saying this consistent character thing is about to go to a whole new level. And just think, this really is the merch right here for the show.
Yep.
AI Lewis needs to hit the scene for sure. Jeff asked, how do you make your AI avatars? If you're in Midjourney, what I will do is I took a picture of me from a couple of years ago when I was like wearing suits and ties to work. I took an image and uploaded it into Midjourney. I copied the media link and then took a regular prompt, just whatever kind of prompt that I want. Doesn't matter the scene or whatever it is. I put the / imagine the prompt. I put --CREF. I'm putting it in the chat for you. And then I'll drop in the media link. And behind the media link, I'll put a space and I'll go --CW. And I'll put like 8 or 10, like 0, 8 or 1, 0. And whatever my special parameters are for that specific prompt, and I'll run that. I might repeat it a few times to give me more to kind of play around with, but that allows me to create more AI versions of me. And then I just need to kind of go through and do the quality control portion of the process where I'm like, hey, I don't really like that specific version. That doesn't really look like me. And then I take those, and I'm not sure if you've seen in the video format, but I've turned AI Lewis into videos a couple of times. It's just hard to keep the character consistent on the video side. That takes a little more work. But I'll do like a blog style post about it in the group. I'll do it tonight after we get off of here. Give me like an hour, let my phone's charge. But yeah, I'll put together a character reference guide, if you will. Hopefully that answers your question. I see you yawning over there, bro. I know you tired.
Man, it's long days.
No. Dog, I've been like 5 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep this whole week. And it's still technically the beginning of the month for me at work. So, I ain't even gonna have a break until Friday, if that, honestly. So I totally feel you. I need a nap.
Yeah. Right. I plan to nap. And the wires got crossed with the hours.
I know. My bad.
No, that's all good. They need to just do away with this whole daylight savings time, especially if some aren't doing it. Because I think only Hawaii and Arizona don't.
It's here in Arizona that don't.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Everybody else moves around. So like I was trying to figure out, okay, if I want to try and keep this at the same time going forward, I did shift this once already in March when we did this before. I got to do this again. Dang it. So it's likely next week on my end, I will have to do it at 1 o'clock.
Right.
It is useless, right, Carlos? Like tomorrow at work is gonna be wild. Jess asked, okay, two things. Jess, happy birthday to you. I hope you're having an amazing day. I hope that you got a chance to relax a little bit, but I know you on your grind too. So if you didn't, I totally get it. I understand. Did we take any classes beyond the Google AI Essentials? So I took AI Essentials, then I took a marketing and ecom course. I've been talking with Kay Shauna. I've been talking about her with her about taking a Python course, but haven't taken it yet. But that's the next one that's on my radar. Uriah, did you take more than the Essentials course?
I, as a group, I was just say we did not take another class as a group. Me personally, I take classes all the time, so I can't. I like as a group we didn't, but personally, I've taken a lot of classes. But I take classes all the time, especially with I got certifications where I'm required to take classes. So it's not the same.
But as a group, I mean, I think it helped elevate me, the course that we took together. I have a better understanding, which means I'm actually able to use and train the AIs a little more efficiently. So I think it would be a really good thing for you to take, just to have a better understanding of what we're navigating and dealing with. And I know the Coursera one was free for the first 7 days. I was able to get the Essentials one done pretty quickly. It's pretty straightforward, but it'll give you enough meat on the bone to kind of like understand what we're navigating and why some things are effective and why some things aren't. I'm gonna subscribe to Course IB AI course. Yeah, definitely. I think this is just me personally. I think any of those things are just an investment into yourself and your future, and it helps you have like I said, a better understanding, but be able to articulate it to those around you what we're navigating with AI, and that they don't really have to be afraid of it, but more have to get accustomed to it being here and how to work with it. So I think you're on the right track. I encourage you, and if I can help in any way, just let me know. You probably look so tired. Yo, let's wrap show. Let's wrap because I feel like you do. I'm like, yo, I'm ready to go lay on the couch and just chill. Great episode. I appreciate you as always. You got anything you want to tell the people?
Just keep at it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out directly. We always here to help. Whatever you need, we pretty much can probably help with. So hit us up. Hit us up.
For sure. And if you haven't, definitely get tapped into the Unleashed AI Creativity Group. That's where we do the majority of our community and member work. If you have questions in there, there's a number of guides that are available to you that cover pretty much my entire process from mid-journey all the way through to Kling. So if you have anything that you want from me, you can definitely hit me in the comments, hit me with a DM. Other than that, Uriah, I hope you have a good Sunday. Go get some rest.
Brother.
Love to the fam and everybody else. As always, I will holla. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.